Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and today we're doing another picking the right ship video focused on transporting goods into dangerous territories. So whether you're talking about your destination being in a shady part of Nyx, or maybe you're just traveling through a known piracy haven, you're gonna want to pick a ship accordingly. So while the best transportation ship may end up being something like the Hull E, that's not always going to be your best option when there's known danger lurking around any given corner. Now we're also going to talk about this in a manner of you being in a solo ship on a journey, because sure, that Hull E could bring 10 fighters along for escort and be pretty damn safe, but that's not really the point of what we're talking about here. So we're going to start cheaper and smaller like we normally do, and my first recommendation is going to be the Avenger Titan, which I'm sure is going to be a huge surprise to you guys. But not only does this variant come with the cheapest price tag of all the Avengers, it also comes with the Bulldogs for damage instead of the Sucker Punches for distortion. Now, either of those could be effective, but if someone's trying to take you out, I want the ship that's set to kill, not stun, though there is some merit in being able to disable your enemy so you can then run away. The other real benefit of the Titan is that you've got you don't have those holding cells, in there. You've got them removed, giving you max cargo for your trip. And even the Titan isn't going to be able to give you a ton of space, but starting with that best option is going to let you earn that money for later in game and for bigger ships. The other benefits to this ship here is that it's known to be pretty durable, it's fairly fast and agile, and it's got a nose gun that's just flat out nasty and is a heck of a deterrent for potential attackers. Basically, it's got a cheap price tag, a decent flight model, and good weapons, making this a good entry-level option to a ship to take into more dangerous places. The next recommendation follows a similar pattern, except that there are hull differences with this ship, and that's the Cutlass Blue. Now we know the black is more stealthy and it carries more cargo, but the blue can have those holding cells removed when you're capable of carrying about the same amount of cargo. And the benefits you get in return are going to be beefed up armor, a better power plant capability, higher max shield option, and what should end up being decent Cutlass agility, though that obviously still needs some work. Now, a less obvious observation is that the Blue is a bounty hunter and a malicious ship at heart, so your potential thieves out there may not waste time scanning you, or may not want to get caught up in what could be a bad situation for them. I'm also a fan of the Freelancer Max in this role too. Not only are you getting the additional cargo space compared to the other Freelancer options, but you get 2 more engines, which may equate to better speed and pickup ability, but you also get a larger power plant than the base Freelancer, which means you could keep those engines running longer at higher speeds and shields running while under fire. Now, some may say that the Mist variant is a better choice, but honestly, I'm not sure how much space you're losing on the inside for the missile replenishing system. That being said, the Mist is absolutely a scarier target to engage, and I think it also fits the bill well for this. However, based on the decrease in cargo availability, the Max gets my Freelancer vote, at least in this recommendation. Now, when you start talking about bulk trading into dangerous spaces, my personal favorite ship for this role is the Starfarer Gemini, and it's going to be the one that I personally use in these situations. Now, while you're sacrificing about a third of the cargo space, as compared to the normal Starfarer, what you get in return is pretty damn important. Getting the extra power plant size, 2 sizes larger on the max shield, plus extra armor added to the ship, so much so that it actually negatively impacts your cargo carrying ability. You also get more powerful engines. Now, I'm expecting the Starfarer to be kind of a lurking Hulk when it's being flown, and I think it's going to be pretty damn hard to kill, especially when you've got the larger size turret to lay down some serious pain on whoever's engaging you. Now, the value for this ship in this role only increases when we start talking about the ability to replace those fuel pods with cargo pods outside of the main cargo bay, and it sure looks to be able to hold its own. Basically, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to run away from your pursuers in the Gemini, but you may be able to kind of make it just too much of a pain to actually continue to attack you, giving you a good option to get to your destination. I think the base Starfarer doesn't have the durability that you really need, though I think in just general transportation roles, the base Starfarer is the better option. Now, up to this point, we've talked about ships that can really be used effectively with 1 or 2 people, though the Starfarer is sort of in a middle ground because there are turrets in the rear to kind of help support additional players and make it more effective. But there are recommendations that I think fit this bill pretty well. However, they do come with a higher crew requirement. The Retaliator is a really good example of one of those ships, especially when you remove those bomb bays in favor of the cargo bays. Now, outside of the Tally being a military ship with some decent armor, you have 5 turrets dotted around the ship, meaning that it's going to be hard for someone to get into a blind spot and just pick away at you. Though it does require a large crew to really be able to cover all the angles. Now, before I got my Starfarer and before I got my Andromeda, the Tally was really going to be the one doing these jobs for me. though the crew size for me is a huge turnoff, especially since the pilot doesn't have control of any weapons on their own. The Constellation series has a few contenders to enter the ring, but going with the base Andromeda seems like the best option in my mind. Now sure, the Phoenix comes with the point defense system, which is great, but for the price difference and the rarity making repairs more timely and expensive, I think the Andromeda is the best option. You get 2 turrets, good forward-facing weaponry, more than a few missiles, and the ability to drop a snub-nose out of the back to help protect you if you're engaged. It's an awesome option. Now you do need to keep in mind that if you do decide to drop the Merlin, you need to be able to collect them or you're leaving them behind if you decide to jump out if you get into trouble. I feel very confident about all these ships that I've already mentioned, but I do want to talk through a couple honorable mentions, primarily in the honorable category because they need further development and we need to get more information about them. The Banu Merchantman carries more than its share of cargo, and with it being known to be a good blockade runner, it makes a good choice for those of you who would rather run away from engagements than getting into fights. I'm guessing that it's probably going to be very fast in a straight line, it has massive shields, at least for now, and it has a good power plant. Now there is a lot we don't know about this ship, but it looks very promising, though it doesn't appear to have much weaponry and comes with a very large crew size at 8, but if you prefer running to fighting, it should work out pretty well for you. Another similar ship would end up being the Caterpillar, which has size 5 shields as of the last update, and a lot of modularity, meaning that you can probably strike a nice balance of utility modules and cargo modules to really fit whatever need you may have on your journey. But 4 size 4 weapons and a turret means it could do really well to keep you alive. Now speed is probably not going to be on the side of the Caterpillar, but if it's outfitted right, it may not need to be. So I'd love to hear what you all are considering using for this type of role. You know, I could see things like some of you guys saying something like the Carrack or the 890 jump. But if you have something that I haven't really considered, put it in the comments. And if you have questions, put those in the comments as well. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for a whole lot more content. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.